Joe here. So I want to talk about the first thing you should do when you're starting a business, just because I'm pretty much doing that as with this new supply company. So the first thing you should do is not. Oh, there, let me go. Thank you so much. So the first thing you should do before literally anything else is get customers. Like, and it sounds crazy. Like a lot of people want to like get the business name registered and like the insurance and all the other kind of stuff, which is important. Like I'm not saying it's not important, but you could like we're going through it. We had already we started the business name. Like I did all that kind of stuff. Like because like the level that we were working at, like in order to get customers, like I did have to have the business registered. But like if you're starting like handyman business, a fence company, like whatever, typically you just want to start with getting customers. And the reason why it's so important is because you can put all these plans in place and you can spend all this time getting a logo designed and like getting the business cards made up and the website and all the other shit. But like one, that just say it takes you 6 weeks to get all that crap done or 4 weeks, whatever the time is. The time that you spent on that is time that could have been spent on getting customers. Like after all, like unless you are like financially, stable because your parents left you a nest egg or like whatever, you have to have customers in order to have a business, right? And a good example is with the like we had started a power washing company and I figured, oh, this is going to be easy business and everything else. So I like did all the prep work and I did all the like going through all the Facebook groups and the different online forums and everything else, and researched all the material or the equipment that I needed. And I already had a trailer, but so I had that those trailers, so I bought everything that I needed, and I got the something, and then spent thousands, right? And what ended up happening, right? I got all this equipment, sent out emails. I'm like, oh, this will be simple. And I'm like, oh, like I know the online marketing space and everything else. Like, just do this, get the customers, bang it out, and everything else. And it worked to an extent. However, the customers were harder to come by than I thought they were, at least in the beginning. Like if I would have stuck with it, it would have been a different story. But it took a lot of effort to even get the handful of customers that we had. And then once we got to those jobs, because I wasn't the one physically doing it, I had my employee doing it, and he's good, and he actually I think started his own um, power washing company. But like there was a lot of issues that were coming up, right? And it just came to the point where I was like, this doesn't make any sense, right? And if I would have just spent the time trying to get customers first, realizing, oh, this is a little bit harder than I thought. And like, you might be thinking, well, Joe, you need like the power washing equipment to, get power washing jobs. No, it's not true. So the reason why I said that is because I literally could have sent out emails and said, hey, we're thinking about starting a power washing company. Who would be interested in this, right? And we only got like 5 people because that's about how many people came back with the, from the fence company, those users, and not users, but like those contacts. 5 people came back. Like, so I would have, all right, so it's only 5 jobs. Like, at $300 a piece, it's $1,500. And then once I labor and, the materials like the bleach or whatever, um, I don't know if this is worth it, right? And I spent all this time, and it was just a waste of time. So, and we're kind of doing the same thing with the supply company as well. Like we have all these ideas, like, oh, I think it's going to work this way. I think it's going to work that way, and I got a decent amount of stuff started as far as like what we were gonna what we were going to provide, like what materials we were going to start with, and that kind of thing. But then beyond that, oh my God, he is so wide. But beyond that, I'm like, I'm not wasting my time on this. Like, I don't even know. Like, I told my wife, I told the staff and everyone else. I said, look, I could try to plan this as much as I possibly can, But at this point, I basically have the registered name. We have the materials that we're going to offer. I have the website up and running with a like e-commerce side to it. And this is like at this point, like I just have to get you guys customers, and we just got to figure it out. I don't know what the sales scripts are going to be. I don't know what the information that we hand to the customer. Like I don't know any of that stuff, right? All I know is that I need to get pricing from these other guys, and we're going to provide that to the people that call in, right? And I'm glad we did it that way because, like, I would have spent a ton of time. We would have been weeks behind where we currently are now, and I still would have came across the same problems. Like, I could have spent way more time. I could have reached out to way more people that have. Well, no one's really done this before, but like, I could have reached out to people like on the online marketing space and everything else, and I could have really dialed this in and everything else, and to get the leads and everything else. But I didn't do that. I'm glad we did it that way because as we keep on doing one thing, like I look at everything like dominoes. So the first thing is number one, getting the customers, right? And then after that, well, actually, it wasn't even that. So the first thing is really, and I talked about it in other videos, but the first thing is you got to get people to know you exist and get them to call you, right? The next thing is to sell the jobs. The third thing is to produce the jobs. And the fourth thing is to really know your numbers, right? And the knowing your numbers, really, that should be in the front. But anyway, so anyway, the first thing was getting people to know we exist and call. So what did I do? Well, one, when new calls were coming in, I'm like, hey, we're doing this new service, blah, 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 right? So that's one way. The other way was just emailing all my previous customers like, hey, or people that called in but never moved forward with. It's like, hey, we're starting this new program. Would you be interested? Well, sure enough, I freaking sent it to like 1,700 people. Only 350 opened this email, and like I had a shit ton of response. So I'm like, this is going to work. Like people are interested in this, and I didn't even know exactly how to explain it and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a rambling mess, kind of like what these videos usually are. And so at least that proof of concept works. Like people want this shit. It doesn't matter if I think they need it. Like I've tried this so many different ways, trying to work with contractors and stuff like that, and I offer different services. And I'm like, oh my god, this is literally going to change their life. This will like the impact that it's going to have on their business and their home life and everything else. Like it's just ridiculous what's going to happen, right? And but no one was interested, so it doesn't matter if what you think they need, it doesn't matter what people need, it's like what they want. So anyway, the proof of concept worked. So the next thing was selling the job. So that's kind of like the next step, like the scale script and all that kind of shit. So that's what we're working on now. And some people went forward. We had some issues where like they'll have questions like, why are you recommending these other companies? Why would we go with your company if so and so is like $1,000 cheaper? And we're thinking like, honestly, we hope you don't go with us. But then the final thing is producing the job. So we're coming across the same issues of like, okay, once they book the job, how does that work? How do we pay for the materials, or how do we get the materials paid for? How do we like do that next step of communication, like all that kind of stuff. So it's all linear, I think. So anyway, first thing is producing the jobs, or getting people to know you exist and getting them to call. Like that's number one. See if they're interested in like what you're offering before you do anything else. Number two is how to sell those jobs, right? So you get all these people calling, what do you have to say? What do you have to do? What do you have to offer in order to get them to like hand you money, right? And so that's that. And the next thing is producing the jobs. Like, how do you physically produce the jobs? And again, because if you spend your time doing all the other bullshit and you don't get anyone that's confused, you've never been able to get them to call you or sell them the job. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's all I got for today. That's it. So anyway, hope you guys have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.